On behalf of Fraser Valley Regional Library, the first regional library system in North America and the largest in BC, and on behalf of Nicole Glentworth, the manager of the Chilliwack and Upper Fraser Valley Libraries, I would like to welcome you to the Chilliwack Library. I am Smitty Miller and I'm the community librarian, which means I have the happiest job on earth. One day I received a phone call in my office. This is Victoria Rogers. I have some books I'd like to donate to the library. Here's me. Yeah. Well, don't we all? Reader's Digest collections from 1956, old National Geographic magazines, paperbacks with the covers torn off, and a coffee table book given by Great Aunt Melda on the occasion of middle school graduation by some cousin or another. We have books, we got plenty of books, and we have book sales a couple times a year to benefit the library. But, says Victoria, I have lots of books. Yeah, well, don't we all? Really, says Victoria, I have about 300 books. Oh, I say. So my interest is piqued. Would you like to come and see them and tell me if you could use them? Sure, I say. Where do you live? Lions Bay. Me, a New Yorker, what's a Lions Bay? Up past Horseshoe Bay on the way to Squamish. Well, holy moly, you might as well ask me to drive to Calgary. That's a long way, I tell you. But off I went to Lions Bay. And in that Bay of Lions, I found a treasure. Books, 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 and more books. Ha! 300? Try 700. And most in mint condition. Every genre of children's and teens books. Books for every age of development. After a long process of appraisal, cataloging, stickering, shipping, and more stickering, I am pleased to have you be the first to set eyes on this collection. I'm sure that Victoria will speak about the lady whose name will grace this collection, so I'll speak briefly on the topic I know most about, and that's books. Now, I have never had the pleasure of meeting Madison, nor Brooke until this evening. Victoria and Tim's children, but I know one important thing about them. They were the luckiest children on earth. As the curator of this collection, I have had the occasion to actually touch each one of these books at least 6 times. During my time with these books, I had to decide whether or not a particular book would be part of the collection. I started to notice that some books had writing in them, and I set those aside. We wouldn't normally want books that had been marked in. But then I started to read what was written in the books, and I decided to keep them just as they were. Because this is a personal collection, these books were loved and read by actual 3D living, human, breathing children, and I was almost embarrassed by feeling witness to stages of Brooke's and Madison's early lives. So when you pick up a book from the Celia D. Rogers collection at the Chilliwack Library, you may see some writing. And it might be something like this, in the book called A Pussycat's Christmas. December '98, dearest Brooke and Madison, Merry Christmas, sweet peas. May this remind you of Max and Uncle Tear. Love you, Auntie Deb. From Freckle Juice by Judy Bloom. To Brooke, love Melanie. Congratulations, you've completed the summer reading club. From Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. Dear Brooke, congratulations on your French play performance. Love Mommy and Daddy, May 2004. And then written in scrawling pencil on the side, 45 times 2 equals 80. The Merchant of Venice. Steph plus Lexi plus Brooke equals BFF. Hi, Brooke. Have fun in Palm Desert. Hey, baby. Have fun. You're quite a guy, aren't you, Brooke? Fashion Kitty. I'm 5 today. Madison, you are a true fashion kitty. Sailor. Oh. The Grinch meets his Max. To Madison, love from Auntie Claire. Merry Christmas. The Mermaid's Secret. Madison, what a great school concert. You said your lines perfectly, sung beautifully, and had the best smile. Love, Mommy and Daddy. The Monster Bed. Brooke, I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. Sure do love you. Love, Nancy. Christmas, 94. Arthur Spiderwick's Field Guide to the Fantastical World Around You. This field guide belongs to Madison Maley in celebration of her 10th birthday, which, with much love, Auntie Rhonda, Uncle Dean, and Shane. And The Rainbow Fish. Dear Brooke, we hope you enjoy this book, which we brought back for you from Nevis, West Indies, our first trip away from you. We missed you lots. Love, Mommy and Daddy, November 1994. And then there was a note that was tucked away in one book of the mystery genre, and the note said, "Your teddy bear has been taken hostage. He will be returned if you give me lots of money." Obviously inspired by the excitement of the books they were reading. The children of Chilliwack will enjoy these books as Brooke and Madison did, and they will live out their natural book lives in a place that loves books, that loves people who read books, and that honors the importance of children of all walks of life reading, reading, and reading some more. Thank you. I'd like to introduce the donor of the Celia D. Rogers Collection, Victoria Rogers.
Today is a great day because we are here in the Chilliwack Library to celebrate a new collection of books. It's a great day because we can also stop and recognize the contribution of our forefathers, those men and women who founded the Chilliwack Library and gave us this great legacy to build upon. Honored guests, treasured family, dear friends, thank you all for joining us at this celebration. My name is Victoria Rogers, and I have the honor of delivering a tribute on behalf of my family to our mother, Celia Rogers, who this collection is named in honor of. I'd like to be a storyteller tonight about the inspiration of this gift. But first, I would like to thank those citizens who have nurtured the Chilliwack Library over the years. It is the shimmering jewel of this community, a haven for learning, a place of comfort and illumination, and for some, the pathway to a better future. In donating these 700 books, we continue the journey others started long ago. Storytelling is perhaps a lost art, but I would love to share the story of these books. I would like you to see beyond their glossy covers, to discover the heart and soul of this collection. It's a story that culminates tonight with this donation, but it began long ago. My mother inspired me to collect these books, so we must begin by looking back in time to her childhood and love of children's literature. During World War II, the early 40s, there was a little girl who ran through the Bluebell Woods in the north of England, a place called Yorkshire, or others, the fictitious countryside of Downton Abbey. This was my mother, who during World War II was 7 to 13 years of age. She loved a good adventure, and she and her childhood friend, Jean, would race off on their scooters to inspect the soldiers camping overnight on the common. There was no electricity at this time, so Celia would read her favorite book, Peter Pan and Wendy, by candle or gaslight. Her mother also shared her love of poetry, and Celia can still recite many stanzas of The Highwayman by Alfred Noyes. I'll recite a little for you now so you can imagine night on the Yorkshire moors through her young eyes. The Highwayman. The wind was a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees. The moon was a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas. The road was a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor, and the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The highwayman came riding up to the old inn door. Celia's childhood was also shaped by the railway that ran through the countryside. She loved the outdoors, and as a child was always going for walks, playing in the woods, or running to watch a train go along the Hull and Barnsley railway line. She loved a book called The Railway Children by Edith Nesbit, a story that concerns a family who moved to a country house near the railway after the father is falsely accused of spying. The children befriend an old gentleman who regularly take the 9:15 a.m. train, and he eventually proves their father innocent. Somehow children grow up, and Celia was no exception, but she was exceptional. She was a great student and was very proud to win a scholarship to the Hemsworth Grammar School, where she was happy and content, and where she had the best of friends, Rita and Mary. They can't be at the function tonight. They still live in England, but they sent their regards and best wishes for the occasion. As a teen, Celia also was a gifted musician, and her passions included choir practice, music lessons, and practicing the piano. Celia won the prestigious County Music Scholarship to continue her studies in London, but her path was to take her a far different direction. My story will now jump several decades to keep a literary focus. However, mention is needed of Celia's nursing contribution in the early days of brain surgery in England. Until 1958, Celia was the operating room supervisor in neurosurgery at the Leeds General Infirmary. This was a time when neurosurgery was being pioneered by only 3 hospitals, and Celia was the nursing supervisor responsible at LGI's neurosurgery OR. Now let's fast track to the 70s and a few inconsequential details. A move to Canada and having 5 children. Celia loved children and being a mother, and still does today. I don't remember too much about our brief life in Edmonton. I was only 7, but I do remember just a special set of 3-box Richard Scarry books. Quentin was just a baby, Marcus was 5, and we all enjoyed these illustrated stories about life in Busy Town with Lolly Worm, Dingo the dog, and I just remembered the cat's name, Huckle Cat. I also had a subscription to Look and Learn magazine, a magazine out of England, and it assisted me in arranging pen pals. And I still remember, as a young girl, writing to my pen pals in Jamaica and Gibraltar. Yes, we were growing up and soon moved to our new home on McNaught Road in Chilliwack. As siblings, thanks to our parents, we developed our own unique reading interests. Allison loved Gerald Jarrell and his animal stories, and she had the most fantastic collection of animal magazines. I thought it was really quite unfair. Marcus and Quentin collected Astrid and Tintin comic books and later became Monty Python fans. And we all read hundreds of books written by the English novelist Enid Blyton. My favorite was The Faraway Magic Tree, and that's soon going to be a motion picture. I recall the excitement we all felt on Christmas mornings as young children when we opened our stockings. There was always a lovely collection of paperback books sent to us from England from Auntie Mary, Mum's grammar school friend. Mary had gone to work for an English publishing house, and every Christmas she sent us a beautiful collection of books. And one of my favorites as a teen was The Outsider by S.E. Hinton. Now, Celia was never one to spoil her children. I recall one Christmas when Mum and Dad asked if we would each give up a gift we had just received. We then sat in the car outside the home of a poor patient as our parents delivered these toys and books to this family who had nothing to open on Christmas morning. I also remember my Look and Learn magazines ended up on the streets of Paris, given with a few apples by my mother to a homeless Indian woman and her small children begging on the street. As an aside, this homeless woman sat close by a deranged-looking man with one leg, also sitting on the street. And as we walked by, he lifted his crutch and pretended to spray us with machine gun fire. The moral of this story must be that good deeds are not always duly recognized. So back to the books. We can now skip ahead a few more decades to Celia's golden years as a grandmother. This was also a time when I was inspired by her gravitation to children's books. As a grandmother on the go, her handbag now held a special collection of miniature stories, which she would frequently read to our children, Brooke and Madison. Winnie the Pooh had definitely seen better years, and it was in rough shape because I think the oldest grandchild, Tristan, had been chewing on it. It's not here. But others had such as Beatrix Potter's, Peter Rabbit, Benjamin Bunny. They had a good, strong spine, and they were in great shape. There was also a copy of Paddington Bear, the famous bear from deepest, darkest Peru. And we all enjoyed thinking of how sticky his paws must be after putting them in the marmalade jar. Now this has turned almost into an 18-minute TED Talk, but I still have your attention, so let me conclude this tribute to Celia with she and Derek's history and admiration for the Chilliwack Library. They've had Chilliwack Library cards for over 40 years. My father's medical practice was situated across the road in the Cascade Center, and so this love affair began due to this fortuitous location. Their borrowing habits will not have changed over the 40 years, as they are pink slip people. For those of you not familiar with this term, it refers to those who request a book from within the wider circulation of the Fraser Valley Regional Library System. My parents have never been disappointed in their quest for less popular tomes. Last week, the power of the pink slip occurred once again, and they were called in to say their latest request was now in: the biography of King George III. Now, where on earth did the library find this obscure book? So in conclusion, I have some thanks. Thank you to the Fraser Valley Regional Library under the leadership of Mr. Scott Hargrove, and especially for keeping this collection in its entirety with its home here in this local library, on the doorstep of my parents' home. I appreciate that, and I know that this is a first. And thank you to our friend and community librarian, Smitty Miller. I met her, I fell in love with her, we had grilled cheese sandwiches. We were together for 5 hours looking at books. And I sort of feel she's had a little glimpse into our life. And I must say that I couldn't part with, about 100 books that were also inscribed. So we still have kept a treasure trove of memories in our home. And thank you to my dad. He's the unsung hero tonight, but he will be performing with Sarah Dyke shortly. And for all of you who know my dad, he's the most optimistic, inspirational person. He's a humanist. He taught us that, to love everyone. He's a Renaissance man, and we're all trying to continue to learn about science, learn about arts, learn about fine arts. And he's a great reader. And most importantly, for the heart and soul of this collection, thank you, Mom, on behalf of your children and grandchildren, for all your bedtime stories and beautiful lullabies. They will forever live on in our hearts and through the Celia D. Rogers Children's Collection. Thank you.